Here we are at the Bentley Hotel in New York City. We're having a book party to celebrate the author's great work on the book Titanic, the tennis story.
I think the story transcends either, tennis buffs or Titanic historians, and it's just a story of two people surviving and trying to make it through their lives. That's why we wanted to tell it in a novel format to kind of appeal to a broader audience. And, Carl, it's a love story for Carl Bear, who went on the ship chasing after the love of his life, and they got engaged right after the ship sunk, and he had to deal with survivor's guilt and deal with the fact that he was on one of the first lifeboats to go out, but at the time he didn't know that he was taking the place of a woman or a child. So we tell that story, and we also tell the story of Dick Williams, who was coming to New York with his father and coming over here to go to Harvard and to play tennis. And his father died on the ship, and how he moves on from that and goes on to become US Open champion. I come from a screenwriting background, so writing a novel was very, very fascinating to me. It was very challenging, the prose, but I really enjoyed it because as opposed to a screenplay where you can't tell what the character's thinking, in a novel you get to kind of explore all of that.
We approached this book as a historical fiction. It's a historical novel. The meat and the potatoes of the story is true, of the survival and the tennis matches and the gist of the story, but there were narrations, there were scenes, personalities were fictionalized. We didn't know conversations and so forth that took place 100 years ago.
I read pretty much every first-hand account of the Titanic experience there was. Not only are the characters we're writing, real people, but all the characters on the Titanic are based on the real people who were on the ship. So we did extensive research to figure out who they would have been hanging out with, maybe where they would have been hanging out, where, how they would have been spending their time to create our scenes. And this happened 100 years ago, and so that involves personalities and words and figuring out relationships between people that you might not know, that a New York Times article might not be able to tell you, all the details of. We did know that Titanic 3D was coming out fairly soon in the beginning of the project. We knew that it being the 100-year anniversary of the Titanic, if you were going to tell a Titanic story, this was certainly a good time, and the timing worked out really well for us for when I met Randy and the time I had to devote to the project. Working with Randy New Chapter was wonderful. They really took a chance on me as a first-time author, and it was an amazing experience. I'm really proud of this novel. I'm really excited to get it out there and to have people talking about the lives of Dick Williams and Carl Bear, and yeah, I'm just excited this story is reaching people.
It's an amazing story of survival and resiliency, and mixes in romance and victory and triumph, and all wrapped up into one book.